Our first guest today, one-time FIBA basketball point guard, middle school teacher, who in 2018, he saw the power of franchising and never looked back. Now he's the director of franchising and he's leading franchise development and Inspire brands for Dunkin, Baskin, and Sonic Drive-In. Welcome, Josh Liggins.
Honored to be here, Taj. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. We are going to be talking at length about all the challenges and opportunities ahead. But most importantly, our next guest came to the U.S. on a student visa, went and attended Texas A&M, decided to become a business owner. Thank goodness. Worked in convenience stores, then became a paper boy and got his first shot at owning his original Dunkin in 1989. And now he's one of the largest franchisees with 102 locations, the CEO and president of Anna Management, Dipak Patel. Welcome, Dipak.
Thank you very much, Taj, for inviting, and I'm glad to share my experience 35 plus years with Dunkin.
Oh my gosh. Can we do it in 5 minutes? Let's start. So tell me about your story. Like when you started with your original Dunkin location and, crossing this milestone of 100 plus locations, put it in your own words.
Sure. So 1989, when we started very first locations in Morristown, New Jersey. And soon after that, every year, initially we add one or two locations as we grow ourselves. And growing is one thing, but the acquiring, developing, and maintaining and sustaining, those are the things is important. How fast, how soon, how slow you grow. But unless and until you don't perform, you don't measure your performance, then it's all mute. So it's the recipe of measuring yourself, and that is the growth in my words. So initially, it was very challenging. As we master ourselves of operations, as we master ourselves how to operate the business, then we started exploring in terms of expansion and development. And I would say that the last 10 years, we have doubled our network.
Fantastic. And in your story, you came into this country with $30, I believe, in your pocket. And now today, more than that?
That is correct. Like I migrated in 1982. And in those days, there were only certain amount was allowed to bring back with you here in United States. And that's how it came. All along with $30 that parents has given. And I'm proudly say that $30 in pocket landed in Dallas, Texas, and went on for my post-graduation study in Texas A&M. And I did achieve my master's in industrial engineering. Soon after that, I worked in Texaco company for a year or so, and then moved to New Jersey and work in a couple other industry, hospitality and pharmaceutical industry. And after that, when I found the first opportunity to purchase a Dunkin' Donuts in Morristown, New Jersey, that's how I started.
And you were fortunate to have an operator that saw how hard you worked and invited you to be basically a partner. Is that right?
That is correct. We didn't have any funding enough to do that. So the first we look for a partner, and I have a friend, trustworthy friend, Anand Patel, who becomes my partner, and he is still partner today. And we are still growing ourselves, and also proudly say that we have now his 2 children and my son, also 3 children, has joined the business in Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. Though there's a phrase, right? It takes a village, but sometimes it takes a family or multiple families. I don't know, Josh, with your role at Inspire and with Dunkin' specifically, do you see a common theme with whether they own other concepts, they have experience, or they're brand new to the system, brand new to franchising? What kind of commonalities do you see in that? I want to be a part of building something.
Yeah, I'd say, there's different tracks of individuals that you bring into Dunkin'. But I'd say probably the most special is the family, similar to what Deepak has here, where it's something that's been built over time, over multiple generations. Like there's, obviously when you're, one of the top QSR concepts in the US, you get a variety of everyone, right? You get private equity groups that come in that have a specific goal that they're trying to accomplish off of that. You have your, individual dreamers, but the family org that Deepak and many others inside of Dunkin' have, it's really, in my opinion, what built Dunkin'. It was not as sought after back then as it is today. And so when you look at groups like Anna Management, I think of Hari Group, I think of Scribanos and Kafua, like a lot of these groups it's families that committed to each other, that had a dream, that put together an organization, and has created something really incredible out of it. And so, honored to be on here with Deepak. I told him, in our prep calls that one day, man, I'm hoping to do the same thing with my family that you've done with yours.
We got we got to get Deepak a Dunkin', tracksuit, just like UC Sporting.
Oh, I'm sure he already has a closet of them. I guarantee if he says he wants it, it'll be there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Deepak, back to you on choosing Dunkin'. I mean, it sounds like it was a little bit of a serendipity, right? You were working hard, you had an opportunity, but you stuck with the brand and you kept bolting on more and more locations. Were you, in a sense, acquiring, or did you start to acquire later as you started to create new locations and doing any de novo development? Tell us about that journey.
Sure. So when we started very first store in 89, and for following 10 years, we have only did acquisitions. And then after that, we started to develop and trying to create a white space where we can develop, whether it is in a strip center or whether it's ground up locations. As we grow ourselves, the Dunkin' has evolved also in terms of business product mix. So every Dunkin' had a kitchen inside back of the store. And within 10 years, we all learned ourselves that if we continue to grow the way we have done it, then it would be very challenging for all of us to have kitchen in each and every store. So the communicating with brand, and brand is very cooperative in terms of finding resolutions and finding innovations that how we can grow together. So this is really a classic story with franchisor and franchisee. Franchisee and franchisor, how they become these successful partners. And this is a prime example that the brand and franchisee came along and finds the solutions. So Dunkin' and franchisee advisory committee and the members, those who were involved in process, come up with the idea that we should not have kitchen in each and every Dunkin'. So they started to supply from one store to another store, and as we grow the concept, that create the opportunity for providing the products, especially donuts, to the multiple stores. And that's how it creates the concept of central manufacturing kitchen. Today in New Jersey, we have 3 major kitchens, which supplies over 250 stores from each kitchen. And nationwide, we have close to 100 central kitchen. So because of that, 2 things happen. The consumers ultimately are happy because fresh products are being serviced every morning. So that's the key thing of providing a fresh donuts. Second thing is controlling the cost. And the third thing is to eliminations of human error. When you create the donut manufacturing facility, the product quality and the human error has been eliminated and overall cost has been eliminated. So the Dunkin operations become much more palatable, much more profitable. So that is the key of working together with the brand.
Right. Well, I mean, that makes sense to ultimately scale. You have to find efficiencies. And was it in 2020 that the acquisition happened? Inspire bought Dunkin and made them private. I can't recall again. Josh, correct me if
December
I'm
of
wrong.
2020. Yeah.
Yeah. 11 billion dollars. Well, now it's continuing to grow. And I would
Pocket
say
change.
what's it? Yeah, pocket change. So I would say, Deepak, it's almost like you started with acquisition for the next 10 years, and then you looked for de novo. Josh, are you seeing that, is it maybe more of the norm now, given the consolidation of finding more multi-unit operators? Or when a new franchisee comes to you, they say, I really want to open a brand new store. Let me sign a new franchise agreement. I want to open my next and next. Or do they acquire? Like, what's your perspective? What are you seeing?
Yeah, it just depends on the group.
Okay.
Again, with as large of an org as we have, you're going to have people that are coming from different stages of life, different organizational structures. Like I said, you got family institution, you have private capital, you have executives that are leaving their career and looking to get into franchises. And then you have these large private equity groups. So depending on what your goals are, it could be very different. I will say that as an advantage for Dunkin, the existing operators, our multiples have been trading pretty high. And so, it is difficult for groups to come into Dunkin via the acquisition because the multiples are very, aggressive, right? And that's what the market is dictating. So in that space, you've seen a lot of people opt for new development, especially as we're expanding out west. There haven't been as many opportunities to acquire, right? So development has been the lead in for growth out there. So it really just depends on what the structure is. I will tell you this: I've seen development agreements that are 40 plus, where groups are super excited about coming into the brand in a specific area and growing it out. And I've seen acquisitions that are 40 plus. So just depending on where you're at in the country, and where you're coming from a business standpoint will dictate, what your strategy is for growth.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. I recently read in the Wall Street Journal, they had an article about restaurants and this category within retail specifically for real estate is the hottest thing to get into. So I think you're right.
Yeah.
Whether you're acquiring or building new, you got to be focused on retail. Office is dying. Industrial obviously has its own kind of fit, but retail is where it's at.
Retail is where it's at, but it's also, the competitive space on the asset types that you get inside of retail. A concept like Dunkin is certainly more favorable with a drive-through in the majority of areas. You have cities that have moratoriums against drive-throughs, right? And so you can only get into a space like that if you're buying something that's existing and are able to convert or, acquiring somebody's asset. And so, yeah, it's the QSR space as it relates to retail is super, super competitive. It's one of the exciting parts about being with Inspire, though, in addition to Dunkin, is that we're starting to really crack the nut on optimizing whatever space there may be, right? So, we can have an opportunity where there's a double drive-through and maybe we put a Jimmy John's on one side and a Dunkin' on the other. So now we're able to get multiple concepts into the same place that, maybe some other brands, some other companies couldn't do. So it's super, super competitive, but I like our chances, man.
Yeah,
We've been really successful in the
well,
space.
I'm glad you brought that up, because multi-concept, attracting multiple day parts, consumers that have different habits and what their drive patterns are. I think that's phenomenal, where you can almost, like, your operators like Dipak, you're probably the first line of defense or even offense at those strip centers or in those shopping plazas to say, there's a space that's looking like it's about to go. Can I maybe open a BW, Buffalo Wild Wings Go, or a Jimmy John's? So, I don't know, Deepak, do you want to maybe speak to that? Like, are you potentially the front lines of Inspire, where you can add new concepts or look for available space? So, another big franchisor doesn't come in and gobble that up.
So Josh is knocking our door too. And
I'm glad you brought it up, Taj.
Sorry.
So I would say that each and every franchisee, they know their geography very well.
Yeah.
And Inspire brand has several other concepts, and I would encourage that everyone should look what fits in particular geography, because every concept have a different customer base. So I think it is a great opportunity for Dunkin franchisee to be in other concept. And I would say that what I have learned, that Buffalo Buffalo Wild Wings to go concept, existing Dunkin franchisee has probably taken over almost more than 70% of new development. So this is a prime example of co-branding, whether it's independent next to Dunkin or in the same strip center or nearby geography. And it's also creating a much better operational opportunity to have a same office, back office support, and other minimizing the operational cost, and hence is creating a much more fruitful business model. So we are looking those kind of opportunity within Inspire brand to answer your questions. Are you? Yes. And also it's a synergy. And since we have more than, I would say that 70 different relationships where we have leased the locations, and those landlords are also communicating us. And if we look for similar opportunities, they come, they also communicate with us. And it's a great win-win situation if it makes sense for landlord, makes sense for franchisor and franchisee to select. And then overall, the process of approval of locations, they are also very, very technologically driven in terms of data resources and analytical work. So I think we have used those support system where we can make much better successful Dunkin and other concept if we have to open in same geography or similar geography. So I think it's a great opportunity for all franchisor and franchisee, and also for the real estate developer too.
Yeah, wonderful. In terms of collaboration and efficiency, Josh, and Deepak touched on this with regards to creating common kitchens and supply chain, I guess, better ideas and greater efficiency. What systems or what process does Dunkin have at the leadership level to continue to advocate for this, I guess, kind of a groundswell or of new ideas that are coming from the franchisees? How do you balance that as the franchisor?
So want to make sure I understand the question right, Taj. Are you asking about the ideas that are coming from the
Yeah.
franchisee and how we'll work toward implementing them or
Yeah,
something
implementing them and
along that lines?
yeah.
I think Dunkin has a really unique way of going about this. And I think Dunkin is 99% franchise, right? And so the success of the franchisee is our success, right? Our success is tied directly to how the franchisee performs. And so if things are going well for them and they're happy, and we're probably going to be happy. But if they're frustrated, we're going to be frustrated. There's a lot of innovation that comes from franchisees, and the franchisee group has a organizational structure at a local, regional, and then brand level that really all of our decisions are flushed through, right? So at the local level, it's called a DAC, it's a District Advisory Council. Then from there, you have elected people in the Regional Advisory Council. Then from there, you have the BAC, which is our brand national level. So all of the ideas are worked through them and then really disseminated with each other and the leadership team in conversation. And then if it's something that they all agree upon, then that is fleshed out amongst the group. Because you could have a franchisee that strongly believes that, hey, here's an idea that we should do. We can't just take their idea and run with it, because what if 99% of the rest of the company or country doesn't agree, right? And so we really do a lot to make sure that there's a consistency of opinion before pushing something out. But there's been some tremendous success stories around that. I'll tell you one that predates all of us, the Munchkin. The Munchkin was actually an innovation, as it was shared to me by some Dunkin historians, was actually an innovation from a franchisee, right? Where they were, as Dipak mentioned earlier, they used to have kitchens in shop, and they were cutting holes, I guess, for lack of better words, in the donuts, and it was being tossed as waste. They're like, well, we can actually bake this and turn it into something new, and it became really popular at that local level. It was brought up to the franchisor, right, at the time, communicated out, and now there's 1 billion Munchkins that are sold every year. That's innovation from the franchisee. And so I think we have a nice setup that allows for the franchisee to be able to voice ideas in their organizational structure, and for that to come before the entire company, and then see if it's something worth doing or not. So a lot of ideas come. I'm not saying all of them actually come to fruition, but I think we're unique as a company that a lot of ideas and a lot of the advancement actually do come from franchisees. So we have some of the best in the industry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you definitely are forward thinking, and it is all down to communication. There's no such thing as over communicating and collaboration, being completely transparent with those dynamics. Because I mean, we've seen and some horror stories have been public, and some have been intimated to us from different franchisors that have worked with us. It's like, okay, I think that thing that's missing is, how do you create an ecosystem of trust and collaboration? I think, frankly, it's what you all have. So that's good to hear. As it relates to, I think, Dipak, you were touching on technologies and systems and process. I mean, because just probably 5 years ago, how many locations did you have? Like in the last 5 years pre-COVID, what was your growth? So now you're round numbers.
So I will communicate that how technology works, right?
Yeah.
So when we started it in '89, up until following 10 years or so, we have all cash business. So no credit card. Then we introduced credit card. So we started with 5 or 10% of the business with the credit card. By following 10 years, we crossed close to 50%, and then it grew as much as we came to the COVID era, and Dunkin has started almost 10 years ago a Dunkin app, and also we started utilizing digital sales after that introduction. So in similar manner, when we started credit card usage from 5% to 75%, it grew. The same way in digital sales. Dunkin started 10 years ago, 8 years ago, I would say. And now it's nationwide is around 35%. So I'm hoping that in following 10 years, it will be 70% of it. And personally, my network is doing around 40%, and we are aiming to set a goal next year to 50%. So that's the franchisee participations, setting a goal, aim high, work towards it. Brand is supporting, all different marketing tools that how we can make people sign up for the Dunkin app so we can use more and more technology. So ultimately, I would say that as technology evolved and utilization is evolved by Dunkin consumers and other brands, I believe in following 10 years, it would be 70-80% digital sales, not only in Dunkin, but I would say across other brands too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that, Josh?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's groups right now testing out full digital sales for their locations. So there's no ordering in location. It's all done via app, right? And so we'll see how it goes. There's some markets where it looks bullish, and there's other markets where it's like, not so sure yet. So, but I do believe that for the Dunkin consumer, it is a big positive. Sorry, my printer's going off over here.
It's okay.
The digital sales are a big deal. The kind of consumer that we have, the speed of service that they're looking for, the accuracy, it all lends toward digital engagement. So super excited about Dipak's goals, man. And 50%, I'm gonna write that down over here, man. So next year we're gonna revisit our conversation. I'm gonna call Eric High and say, is Dipak at 50%? So excited about that, man. And 70% in a few years. Totally in support.
Yeah, we have set out different zone, one store to participate and come up with the ideas that how we can increase the digital sales. And we are having a pilot test, and those stores are doing around 50 to 60% in digital sales. So I'm confident that next year as a network we'll do 50%.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah. So we're talking about consumer facing apps and digital sales, shifting now to the core underpinning of your platform and the technology behind it to power the back office. What types of solutions are allowing you to scale to pass the baton? Because you built your legacy. I don't even think you need to work anymore, Dipak, but you still do. But in terms of the technologies that underpin scale, what kinds of things do you typically look for that can help Dwar and the team continue to grow and hit bigger numbers?
So I would say that the area in which where you have every single day routine process, in those areas, I would definitely seek out for the technology support. And I'll give you an example about before in early days, we used to do all accounting work with the paper and pencil. And today is all digital, right? this in the same scenario, hand cutting donut manufacturing back of the store in each and every Dunkin'. Today we have central manufacturing facility. So this POS system, for example, where we have Casios of the world, calculator of the world, and today is all digitized. So each and every step of the way, as technology has evolved, definitely we need to use it. And today, Dunkin' has kiosk in ordering their products. So consumers like to have utilizations of technology on their fingertips, and most of the customers are now using Dunkin' app, kiosk, or also mobile order. So that helps growing different products in different manners, such as some customers comes, orders, pick up their products and leave. And some customers comes, orders, and wanted to communicate with the Dunkin' employees and wants to congregate inside the store. So different lifestyle
Yeah.
and different approaches of their lifestyle to be fulfilled. So Dunkin' is providing a wide varieties of approaches. It is not only a third place, but it is a social place where you can relate, utilize your technology, and make your place as your social, as your work, as your day-to-day stop on your way to work or home, and bring the family and have fun together. So Dunkin' has utilizations of technology in all different era where you can fulfill all your needs.
Yeah. Well, what does Anna management look for to provide capabilities for your back office team? You talked about accounting and outsourcing that. I wasn't sure if you were going to talk about some other technology specific to your operation and how you're getting that scale.
Yes. For example, we would like to utilizations of different functions with the outsourcing our needs. And then this is a prime example of real estate aspects that we are one of the least client and our management is. And what we found the most important thing is not to miss your leases, and it remains on your fingertips, right? And what is going to bring to utilize technologies for the real estate? What we experience is to bring the efficiency. That's the key thing. And it's this seamless, important thing is that technology provide you the accessibility, right? It's give you the accuracy, and also add and also manage what you want to do. So those kind of records with the third locations, and you can utilize within your back office. So for example, you have 100 locations and you have 100 leases. So each and every time you need to spend a time to look out for those opportunities, when it's going to have a renewal, when it's going to have to give them the notices that I am renewing, I am leaving. When the rent will go up, you need to provide that. So also creating some of those outsourced relationships also going to bring the much more better results in terms of concentrating on your operations. So what we found ourselves is that we want to spend time and prioritize our time where it belongs. So we are operators, and our most of the productive time should be utilized in managing the business, not managing the certain aspects of that operations, where if we can outsource ourselves, utilize those technology, those who have created a platform and those who are specialized in it, let's use those services. So we are utilizing that, and we would continuously look for similar opportunities in where we have a technological platform comes. Accounting is one, real estate is the another one, manufacturing is the another one. So another aspects of looking out is the where the captive insurance technology platform. That's another where we can constantly save ourselves in inflationary cost. And so if we become much more productive, then some of those functions of the businesses, if you find those kind of technology platforms, then I would love to seek out those opportunities and offload my time there and concentrate on operating, expanding, developing, and growing my business. That's where my priorities are and will be and should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it makes a ton of sense. It is all about productivity, and it's all about reducing your risk. And I think ultimately, whether you have real estate challenges, whether it's a real estate lease or franchise agreements that maybe aren't coterminous permits or licenses, those are the things that you hit the nail on the head, right? You want to focus on what matters when it matters, and outsource, other things that are potentially distracting you. You want to build your donut and coffee empire, right? Maybe not your real estate empire. So I don't know, Josh, you were going to add some things to that?
That's correct.
No, I was just in agreement. I think he summed it up well, and I actually I will add, I think it's so important that operators are doing that. And I think franchisors are starting to buy into that as well. That I've even seen franchisors or even groups like the parent companies like Roar starting to invest in those technologies to be able to provide them to their franchisees so that they can utilize those services, so that they can, again, be alleviated of a lot of these things so they can focus on what matters, and I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but focus on what the specific task at hand is, and that is serving our consumers, right? Like if you are so stressed and trying to keep up with your leases or your insurance or everything else that's going on in the business, that you don't have a smile on your face when you're serving ice cream, and you don't have speed of service and accuracy when you're handing out coffee, it's a disservice to the consumer. It's a disservice to the franchisee. This is disservice to us as the franchisor. And so any of the tools that are out there where our franchisees can utilize those things, we certainly encourage that, and try to build as many relationships in that space as we can. So but it's no surprise to hear Anna Management is already on top of it and taking that approach, which is why they're able to execute operations at such a high level, because they actually have time to focus on that versus everything else. And talking about LeaseGate, with another group, I won't share what the name of that group is, but they share it with us that they have franchisees every year that end up having to close stores because they're not keeping up on their notices, like just off of that. And so having a service that is able to address that for you, a little shameless plug for LeaseGate, having a service that's able to address that for you and keep those things front of mind while you're not having to think about it, it's invaluable. And for some people, it's actually, the difference between having a location or not. So,
well, I appreciate that. And, Deepak, you brought up cashless, right? Moving to credit card. We've heard stories on that theme where they forgot to cancel their Brinks contract. And so for a year and a half, because they couldn't get out of their agreement, there was a Brinks truck that pulled up, didn't have any cash to pick up, but by golly, those trucks were there. And it's absolutely insane. So it's not just real estate, it's other things like contracts and auto renewals, and there's incredible amount of noise. So let me ask Josh on because there's a question that came across. So what kinds of things, would you recommend people maybe keep track of? Are there other things that, if you want to add to any examples that you've seen, snow removal contracts or waste management, any ideas that you've come across or heard, Josh? I'll ask it.
Well, I would defer that more over to Dipak because he's, obviously king of operations, and he had a store when I was 5 years old. So and I'm a long ways from being 5 years old. So the kind of things that you should keep up with at a macro level, I would defer that to him. But I will say, coming from the franchise sales space and the development world, it's really important to keep up with your contractual development agreements, and as people continue to expand in different markets and they have a lot of different development agreements in different regions, some of them, via acquisition will have 5 development agreements in one city, right? Because they purchased somebody else's assets, their organization, and their development agreement. And so I've seen groups lose track of those dates, right? Like, oh, I thought in this market it was, at the end of the summer or the end of this, when actually here, well, I got this one-off that happened earlier at this time. And so there's a lot of consequences to defaulting on development agreements, right? It's a contractual obligation between you and the franchisor. And so when you default on that, for no real good reason outside of I forgot, it's obviously a fracturing of trust, and could, certainly lead to some issues, between the two. So that's obviously the big one in my space, but I think Dipak might have another 50 that he could draw on from over the last 35 years.
I would add into it. Yes, it would be a good idea to have related business contracts can be covered, and looking out, sharing those benefits. So, for example, if you have 1,000 clients or 1,000 store, for example, so those who have different needs besides real estate and related, I think it's a prime example of waste management. It's a good idea. Everybody use that. There is also opportunity related with real estate is the, HVAC contracts or the landscaping contract, but those are not the nationwide contract. So you may have to try to fetch out those would be very challenging. But waste management, it's some of the geographical area where you can find a larger supplier where you can create value to your clients. So it would be a win-win situation, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. From an acquisition perspective, as you were doing this way back, I guess, your initial first 10 years, did you find any challenges as it relates to acquiring any key dates or maybe some default provisions that were not yet met with one of the operators that happened to have a lease that was in default, let's just say, Dipak?
So I haven't personally experienced myself in our network, but some franchisees may have, And when it happens, it's really a big challenge to lose a location. It's the worst thing that someone can have a nightmare working the whole life and suddenly miss the renewal of that leases. Then and most of the state landlord may look for alternatives. Alternatives are to whether to give back to the tenant, but with the different or the higher pricing. So, so you do the math. If that happens, then you will weigh what is important, not to keep this kind of burden on your shoulder, rather give out to the professionals such as your company, Taj, Liskake, and look out and protect. I would say it is an insurance. Why you take a insurance for your business? And I would sum it up that to outsource real estate is just simply insurance, and the insurance gives the dividend, and look out for those dividends, such as the other added benefit of, as we just discussed, that what this platform may bring it besides waste management and other things and other contact. And sometime maybe your portfolio may have ABC real estate company have 100 locations, and a client of yours may miss it or have some opportunity for renewal. Then you will help facilitate that scenario too.
Yep.
And what are the market rate in different geographical area? That also you will your company will have better knowledge of it, where you can educate, share that. There are also camp charges where most of the clients are aware of it, but something in some different area have a different camp charges where you can help facilitate to understand or mitigate those.
Yeah.
So it's a partnership for your business, where you should seek out a right partner. So.
Yeah. Well, you definitely want to avoid any potential closures. And I mean, because Josh, you're going to start losing sleep if that happens, right?
Yes,
man. Yeah. I mean, I'll lose sleep, but the type of sleep that franchisee will lose, it's you think about how difficult it is to get into a top franchise organization in the first place, right? So imagine someone has pooled their resources, reached out to family members, got, people to invest in them, or taken out some loan to be able to do this. And they finally get a site, they get a location that's humming, that's going well, and they fulfilled their dream of opening up this location. And then for no COVID reason, no, act of God reason, no level of destruction reason, nothing but for getting a notice, you lose it. Like that, like the amount of just angst that they would have, man, it's I can't imagine it. And so when Dipak was saying it's a nightmare and his eyes lit up, he's not playing. I mean, it would actually be a nightmare for that individual. And then obviously it impacts the franchisor, but most importantly for the franchisee and what those locations mean for them and what it means for their family and the fulfillment of their dream, man. It's a horrible situation. And to have the technology today where things like that can be avoided, it's pretty cool. Yeah. It's pretty cool to see technology stepping in that space and preventing that from happening.
Well, I appreciate that. They're, back to this legacy and this entire franchisee life cycle. You start with one, you continue to grow and you scale. You've got a technology platform that allows you to do that and take some of that burden off, which is really a big chunk of your risk. What are some of the lessons that you've learned? This is a question that's come in. You know, some of the challenges that you faced while expanding, and how did you overcome them? Do you have like one or two examples, Deepak?
Sure, sure. So when you started to expand yourself within bounds, is everything is good, but sometimes scenario is not same. So during those times, particularly our organization faces much more about when you acquire a larger network, and there is no guarantee that the existing staff will remain for the new owner. So you need to prepare your acquisitions like you are starting a new business. So this is a great learning experience that you should never undermine, that everything will be handy and dandy. Just prepared as if you are opening up a new store. So at the time of acquisitions, you are fully prepared. So important thing is to have employees, your customer services is maintained so you don't lose a business. The key thing is to continuous improvement. And even if you have in initial weeks or months, one or two extra employee needed, then you should have it in order to make a difference, a statement in consumers' mind that, and then put a sign of new ownership and be a part of that community. So that's the good way of taking care of the acquisitions. This second important thing is to maintain all the obligations, whether it's landlord, whether it's franchise, whether it's previous owners' obligations has been continued. So to having and creating a smooth transitions is the key thing. So for operations is number one priority is to create the smooth transitions. The second most important thing is the financing. So when you look out for expansion, whether it's development, acquisitions, make sure that you are protected in terms of financing, because at the worst thing you do not want to see that the first month comes or the first year comes and you have a hard time to pay your mortgage or you pay your rent. So when you do acquire, make sure the price is right, make sure the financing is right.
Yeah.
And these are the couple areas where I would encourage franchisee to be get more sincere about and doing your homework before you acquire it. You do not want to acquire for the sake of acquire, or you do not want to acquire and develop for the number sake. You want to have a solid growth and sustainable growth for a long term. So.
Wow. Wow. There's a lot to unpack there, and we've covered a ton of ground. There's so much more. Appreciate everybody's questions. There's one wrap-up question. I think maybe Josh, you can field this in terms of training and support for your franchisees. You want to give us a 60-second view of how you approach support with your franchisees?
Yeah. Again, when you're talking about a franchisee-led organization where our success is tied to theirs, you're going to ensure that they're supported, and you want to support them in as many possible ways to, again, protect your investment, right? Because if franchisees aren't successful, then we aren't. So from my scope, we support from a real estate standpoint. We have a market planning team that analyzes trade areas to make sure that we're growing in the right spaces within the right speed, right? Store maturity is an important thing for us, how many stores are hitting the market at the time. We have operational support. We have in-store training support, right? So you think about the more that you train your franchisee and equip your franchisee to train their team, the more efficient they're going to be, the more profitable they're going to be. and the more money that they're making, the more money we make, right? And so just at a high level, super important for us. We provide all sorts of modular training on development, specific around growth. We have this thing called the blueprint, and inside of there's this development support model that takes you through all the steps of growth. If you think of Dipak's genesis of entering into Dunkin', it was via acquisition. So there should be no assumption from us that Dipak knows how to grow by development if he's not done it yet, right? And so we have, a step-by-step guide that teaches you, hey, this is what it looks like to submit a site. These are the trade areas. So, you gave me 60 seconds, man. I could go for 10 minutes, but super important for us. And we provide limitless opportunities for training and support. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, you both could certainly write a book about your own respective stories for sure. And I do appreciate everyone's questions that came through. We've got a few that probably ran out of time to answer. We'll follow up with you via email to make sure that you're all connected. So I want you to make sure that, you stay tuned for upcoming webcasts. And just because it's summer doesn't mean we're on vacation. So please connect with us, join us on LinkedIn. And if you've got a topic that you'd like to cover, or you'd like to be a guest on our Leescake Live webcast, or you know someone else who would, please let us know, marketing@leescake.com. And Josh Liggins, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and knowledge.
Honored, Tosh. Thank you.
And Dipak as well. Thank you for, all of your history and your passion to pass the baton to the next in line. I think you're a great testament to leadership.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tosh. And Leescake, Josh, thank you very much to be part of it.
Great. All right. Thank you all. Signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.